Ladies and gentlemen, children of maturity, because we don't want children investing in the stock market. I am, of course, the podcast mogul, the host of this show, Phil Better. With me, as always, are the two amazing advisors and mods in the group. We have Tony and Dalt. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. How's everybody doing?
I'm good. Just released an article, so here to share some more on some more breakdowns of a couple stocks here. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, something new we're doing here. We're going to be probably every Wednesday, we're going to be breaking down 3 stocks for the group so that they can understand a technical analyst and why certain stocks are valued more. We'll be, if you're interested in letting us know what stocks you want for next week, there is a thread that Tony started in the group that we're going to keep posted to the top that you can just suggest stocks for us to investigate. So yeah, Tony, what do you want to start for? I believe we're doing Draftkings, Virgin Galactic, and Ford.
Let's go with Space, SPCE, because that's a really popular one right now.
Oh, Dalt's ready for this one. He's ready to jump in.
Dalt and I had a convo behind the scenes, so now we're going to take it public.
The ladies and gentlemen of the group will see some of the benefits that I have being in this mod group chat with you guys and learning from you all this amazingness, not just in the Facebook group that you share, but a little behind the scenes. So let's jump into Virgin Galactic.
I'll let you start, Tony.
Well, so we just got the news recently. The FAA approved them for carrying passengers to space. And the stock jumped 39% off of that news. And then shortly after, it did fall back down another 20% or so. Bank of America did recently downgrade the stock this week, saying that the growth has already kind of been factored in from the news of the FAA clearance. And it's kind of already reflective of the stock price. So I think this one's a really tough one to evaluate because this is one of those stocks or companies you can't really go off of any metrics right now because they don't really make any money. They haven't made any money in the last few quarters. I'm not sure if they've ever made money I just looked at the last few quarter earning reports. And it's just kind of one of those things where it's Richard Branson's kind of play project where he's a billionaire. He has a lot of money and he just wants to make space.
He's just sitting around drinking and he's like, let's go to space.
Yeah. He wants to commercialize space travel for everyone.
I'm fully for this, by the way. I want to be in space, I
think it's great. So here's a couple things I found. Right now, they're saying that Virgin Galactic is saying that tickets would be around $250,000 to $400,000 per flight. And their goal over the next 5 to 10 years, I don't know how realistic it is they want to make about 400 flights per year. And they expect a revenue of about $1.5 million per flight. So it seems like obviously the average person isn't going to be able to afford this. You're going to have to be a millionaire to be able to afford this. And you are going to have to pass some rigorous training exercises to prove that you're actually in decent shape to be able to withstand the G-force and everything else that comes with space travel. It's not actually, I guess it's outer atmosphere travel. You're not going to be totally in space. But they're saying that you will experience some weightlessness and you will see the curvature of the Earth. So I think it's really cool. It's a really cool idea. I think personally, I could be wrong. I think we're probably a decade away from this being a reality of being able to see 400 flights per year. There's just a lot involved with this technology-wise, and there's a lot of risk. And there could be some setbacks. They've only done 2 test flights so far. So as far as the stock goes and whether or not I would buy it, I think it'd be personally, if you want to buy, 10, 20 shares and just sit on it for the next 5-10 years and not expect anything from it, it could blow up to be huge, or there could be a lot of setbacks. And I'm sure Dalt will talk about, there are other companies as well that are trying to get into commercial space flight, like Jeff Bezos' company and maybe SpaceX. And those companies may go public and may take away from Virgin Galactic in the future. So that's something to consider as well. So as of right now, I think it's a lot of novelty behind it. I would love to see it happen. I just don't know how practical it is or how far away we are from that being a reality.
So I have a few years before I can pack my bags to go travel to space, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, maybe more than a few years.
All depends on how the stock market treats my stocks. Dal, do you have anything to follow up with Virgin Galactic or anything like that?
Yeah, I definitely do. So yeah, as Tony said, as far as being, I guess, commercially available for the average person, we are years away from, say, you and I being able to go up there and see space. But I think if you're a multi-millionaire, and Branson has a certain amount of people that have already signed up and already paid their deposit. Of course, I think Justin Bieber is one of them notables. It's basically all people who have net worth somewhere above $200 million. So it's 100,000 for Bieber is
pocket
nothing.
change.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah.
So for the majority of other people too that have paid this $100,000 deposit, it's nothing for them. So they can afford to spend that and speculate with that. But as far as the average person goes, we'll be waiting for a very, very, very long time, decades. Yeah, we'll be waiting. The only issue I have, I like the whole concept of going to space. I think it's pretty cool. I think if you can pass the week training that you have to do at the Spaceport America there that Virgin Galactic has built, I think if you could pass that and you can prove that you can handle the G-forces that are going to send you to the outer atmosphere, I think that, yeah, it would certainly be fun. I think it's just a cost effectiveness thing. And when you have this company already trading at $11 billion and making $238,000 a year, it's there's a lot already priced in. And so even if they would get to be somewhat commercially available, and even if they brought that price down to, say, $50,000, I highly doubt there would be any movement in the stock at all. So great concept. I'm all about space travel, but as far as a long-term investment, from where Virgin Galactic is today at $11 billion, I don't think I'd take it long. And the other interesting thing is regardless of all that, Virgin Galactic will probably rise over the years. They are the only publicly traded company that's specializing in this space tourism thing. So with that being said, when you're the only one, typically anything that's good for the space tourism industry as a whole, all that capital is going to flock towards Virgin Galactic. So there's a lot better companies. I would think SpaceX is better, but they're private. Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin is actually going to be the first flight to actually take average people. By average people, I mean someone who's not an astronaut, to space. And Bezos is going to be on that flight. Jeff Bezos' brother, and they're auctioning off one seat for $28 million. That just to tell you how expensive it is to go. But he will be the first, Blue Origin will be the first guys to do it. It won't be Virgin Galactic, it won't be SpaceX, it'll be Blue Origin. But the best ones are usually private. So if you're looking to get into a public company that is in space tourism but won't be commercially available or probably not a viable investment, it is going to be Virgin Galactic because they're public, but there's much better companies.
Yeah, I think you're kind of at the mercy of them being the only publicly traded commercial space travel company right now. So it's to be seen what happens when other companies go public, or if they do, what other companies may be going public.
Exactly.
It's also notable that they have only done 2 test flights so far in like 7 years. And they actually had an issue with their first one, so they put it off for a long time. And the way that they're doing this is they have like a 747 jet, and they have their space plane docked underneath it, and they're taking off and they're going 45,000 feet in the air, and then they're releasing this jet, and then this jet turns on its rockets and then goes the rest of the way into the outer atmosphere and then kind of glides and you can see the curvature of the Earth. So it's gonna
wait. The curvature of the Earth. I thought the Earth was flat.
Right. I don't want to give it away. Yeah, but so it's one of those things where it's going to take so much money and aircraft maintenance to do this. I work in aircraft maintenance. I've worked in aerospace industry for a decade now, and work a lot directly with the FAA. And I see how much it is to repair damaged aircraft engines, and it is very expensive, very rigorous, and very time consuming. So I just know how long it takes to do just basic aircraft engines for commercial jets, let alone spacecrafts, a space plane. So I can only imagine the amount of money it's going to take to repair these and how long it's going to take. So that's something to consider. That's why I think we're pretty far away from this being a reality, but I would love to see it like everyone else. So.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that as well, as the actual setup that they have is pretty weird as well. They have the plane, so they don't have enough power to take off right from ground, so they kind of fly it in a plane at a certain altitude. Then they detach it, and then the rocket takes over from there, and they got just enough power and fuel to get out.
Yeah,
so,
which it could end up saving them money, because if they're using just a regular 747 to fly up, they don't have to worry about external rockets like SpaceX has to do. So they're trying to get it as cheap as possible. Obviously, with Bezos' reusable rockets, he will drop his cost dramatically at a certain point. But yeah, it is a different way of getting in space.
The plane looks pretty cool. Have you seen it?
I believe. Yeah, I believe I've seen it. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. You know what? I'll get a picture
up. But it's one of those things where if you don't want commercial customers, people aren't gonna want to spend $250,000 and then be sitting like you're a pencil on a platform and take off straight like a rocket like that. That's
the G-forces are insane, man.
It's way more dangerous. So
I'd rather already be in the sky before I jump out. So I do have a image here. Share screen. All right. So this is their plane. This is.
That's not the one I saw.
Yeah, well, the middle, like the middle piece is where the actual piece that drops off. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is the right there. So this is their plane. This is it flying.
Looks cool. I mean, it looks cool.
This is the interior. I have to say, the interior looks pretty freaking cool.
It does, yeah.
And then this is it taking flight more often there. It looks
incredible. I mean, if they can pull this off, I'm rooting for it. I don't know how much stock I'm going to own of this, but I'm rooting for it.
It's always a bad sign when you see the IPO too. Like, Branson's a billionaire. He's not a billionaire, so I guess he doesn't have the funds. But as far as Bezos's Blue Origin, it's like 100% owned by Jeff Bezos himself.
Well, considering that he has enough money that he can wipe out.
He's the richest guy in the world, so he can afford that, right? And Elon Musk, I think, owns 70% of SpaceX. So Branson probably owns like 20 or 30% of Virgin Galactic.
I know he owns the Virgin brand completely because he did buy it back. So it could be Virgin owns a portion of it and he owns the other portion.
He owned that cell phone company, the Virgin Mobile, right? That's how he got his fortune, or?
No, he got his fortune by starting a music magazine called Virgin, and then created Virgin Music stores and just continued that way. And what he does is he finds his ideas internally, because I read his book, and it's an amazing book if you get a chance. He finds the ideas internally, and they're like, we can make this into a company. So he spins off it and gives it the brand name Virgin, just to have that power. So it's all synergetic in it.
It's smart.
It's similar to what Gary Vee does with his companies. He starts it with the Gary Vee, the Vayner Nation or whatever it's called, and then he spins out the sports agency. He spun out, the ETF company and the NFTs. So it's the smart play to do, because then you can control, You have your maker company, the Virgin company or Gary V's company, and then Vayner Nation or whatever it's called. And then you spin out all these smaller companies that just keep boosting in, and you just use the ecosystem of this. Actually, we do have 2 questions regarding spaceflight. First is from Graz Flow. Doesn't the Musk reusable rocket be a factor? Yes, it is a factor. Until they go to space travel for the everyday person. Right now, they're doing just corporate, pretty much, companies and dealing with the businesses. So that doesn't play a factor yet in the space traveling industry. But if he ever does...
He's focused on refueling the ISS right now. That's all he's doing.
He's looking to get that big money contract from NASA, which will then fuel the next stage, which I think is more commercial flights for people to get into space. And then we have Maria Ruzzi, a constant audience member. She's asking, 3D printing, will it make it more feasible? What's a good 3D printer company do you guys like?
Will make a lot more feasible.
I guess she's talking about space travel, 3D printing planes, 3D printing rockets.
Yeah. Well, I know I did work a little bit with a 3D printer at my last company I was with, and it's pretty incredible what you can make with the ABS plastic material. And I know that they're talking about putting those in the space station and on space flights, long-term space flights to like go to Mars. Because if something breaks in the aircraft, they can just print out a part right there. You know, they can just bring a CAD design of the part and just make it right on the plane or right on the spacecraft.
Yeah, they could pretty much have the whole spacecraft on the blueprints on a disk drive or a thumb drive, if you will, so that they have that. Plus, it's in the computer hard drives already, so you can print
they do
out
have different materials too, not just plastic. So they can make it a lot of different things. It's an amazing machine. As far as companies, I don't know. I don't really know any. I don't follow that too much.
There is a bunch, but I'm not familiar with any of them. But there's a bunch.
Yeah.
Just look for the ones that announced a partnership with SpaceX, and probably would be the wise decision. Really, that's what I would suggest. I have no other knowledge of the companies, but looking for anyone announcing that they partnered with SpaceX, and knowing Elon Musk, he's probably bought a 3D printing company and he's just going to put it into his companies.
That would be wise, yeah.
Yeah. Now we're going to go on to what do you want to do, Ford or Draftkings, guys?
I'll lead off Draftkings.
Going into the Draftkings. All right. So a little bit of Draftkings knowledge that Dalt shared with us so that I can steal it and look smarter. They currently have 25% market share in the US on the online betting market. So, guys, let's jump into Draftkings. Let's break it down, see what they're good, if they're bad, if they're beautiful. What do you guys think?
So yeah, Draftkings, I wrote an article on these guys. It was it was titled How to Bet on Gambling Without Gambling. And I wrote this article, I think, sometime last year. I covered a bunch of companies, some casinos, Pollard Banknote, which does the printing, scratch and win tickets, and Draftkings was another one of them that I covered. And other than Pollard Banknote and Draftkings, everybody else lost money last year because all the casinos were closed. But people still bought scratch and win tickets, and people still went online to bet on Draftkings. So they almost raised their revenue by 100%. I think it was something like 70 to 85%. They increased revenue in 2020 from 2019. So very, very strong, which is exactly what you expect. The one thing I like about them is they are international expansion is always tough, but I'll take market share leaders even in their own country. So having a 25% market share of the online sports betting in the United States is still a huge. And of course, as they grow year over year, that market share should kind of grow, similar to how Amazon did, with starting around 25% of online retail. And now they're controlling about 40 in the US. So I would expect DraftKings to be able to do the same. So as long as they can continue to build that revenue stream, I would expect that they are going to end up buying out eventually one of these other competitors. So Penn Gaming or tiny little Barstool Sports, one of these guys will be purchased and brought under the wing. So I do like them. They are a first mover and proving that you could, bless you, proving that you could proving that you could almost double revenue in the middle of a pandemic. I always like to see that. So I really
Here are
like
some of the companies you talked about in the article right here on screen. We have the Great Canadian Gaming Corp, Las Vegas Sands Corp, Draftkings, and Pollard Banknote Limited. So yeah, if you guys aren't subscribed to Dalt's newsletter, make sure you go over to bantingcorpcapital.com. Subscribe. His articles are probably the ones I read the most. And his newsletter is amazing. So do go check out that. Sorry for interrupting. I just wanted to
No
plug
problem.
you there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. And yeah, there's going to be, when you look at the actual financials of DraftKings, I'm just going to take a quick glance at them now. Revenue has been increasing year over year, and they had stuck it pretty much kept it under control as far as losses go. But in 2020, they swung to a huge loss, but they nearly doubled revenue from the year before. So that's okay. And then if you look at quarter over quarter, fourth quarter, they managed to bring in $322 million in revenue. They came back first quarter of 2021 with $312 million in revenue, but the losses went from $653 million in the fourth quarter to only $346 million in the first quarter of 2021, and they pretty much held revenue even. So they're gonna be some losses along the way, but you can see what they're doing. This is heavy expenses and free giveaways to generate market share. So for the next year, I would expect some more losses, but that market share will grow. And the second they stop giving away all these freebies and stop advertising, they're going to swing to a huge profit. So as long as they can continue to grow that market share, if you're looking at investing in DraftKings, watch those quarter over quarter reports, make sure they're growing revenue, make sure that market share in the US is growing. And as long as that's okay, you can put up with a little bit of losses in the short term.
I remember when they were just starting off and they were just like this fringe gambling site, and now like they're doing all these major things with like the chance to win $100 million, or part of $100 million for prizes when the sports seasons start. Gambling is probably one of the most secure bets when you want to invest on something, because it's in human nature to, like, the stock market is gambling, legalized gambling. But if you can invest in a gambling company, there you go. You got your chance to play the slots, if you will.
There you
Tony,
go.
Anything to add to the DraftKings?
No, I agree with all that, and this is a company I'm bullish on long term, because I think legalized online gambling has changed the game for them and is a large part of their success, because now we're starting to see in the States more and more states legalizing online gambling. And that's such a huge advantage for DraftKings, who's already a market leader. And listen, if you're listening to podcasts, and especially sport podcasts like I do, every single sport podcast has DraftKings commercials. Mm-hmm. Every single one has a DraftKings plug. So I know a lot of their revenue or their income is going into marketing, like Dalt said, and they're giving away a lot of freebies right now. So I think it's just part of their long-term strategy to do that right now, accept some losses right now to help grow even bigger. And I think as we see more and more sports returns, fans return to the stadiums, it's just going to grow even bigger and bigger. And like you said, the first quarter, analysts, Wall Street was expecting them to have about $231 million in revenue. And they actually had over 80. They beat Wall Street's estimate by over $80 million, which is really incredible.
That's not pocket change. That's not pocket change right there. That's some big money.
$312 million, like Dalt said. And it was almost 35% over what they were expecting. And they also had a year-over-year growth of 175%. So I think right now they're having a lot of their losses is contributed to a lot of marketing and a lot of free giveaways. And once they start slowly tapering that off, they're going to see more and more revenue. And I think they're doing it smart. I think they're going to slowly taper it off. So.
Yeah, it's probably going to do what Netflix did when they started their streaming. They were giving away free months, or they were sponsoring a lot, and then all of a sudden,
You got to
Yeah.
do that to get your name out in the beginning and start building up your clientele. I think the biggest thing is getting people to download their app and just create an account. And that's what the whole giving away $10 of this or $20 of this is, just getting people to sign up, download their app, and get them in their ecosystem. And then once they're in their ecosystem and they start
Boom.
gambling and winning a little bit of money, and now they're hooked. So
Yeah, no, it's again, it's human nature
Smart.
to gamble. And
yeah.
yes, I have to agree with Grass here. I wish I knew about trading when Netflix came out. Yes, I did. I wish as well. Also, I'm pissed off at my father because I told him to buy Marvel stock, and he sold it about 3 weeks before Disney bought them. I was so mad at that. Another one here we have from Maria again. I have DraftKings. I'm excited for the NFL. They will be making more money. COVID mess things up. That is true. COVID did damage everything, but with the NFL coming back, DraftKings is going to explode. If you're interested in, following some sports team, if you are in the Florida area, make sure you check out NSPN, the Next Gen Sports Network that I currently help produce their shows. Great reviews coming up. We just got MMA Vigilante, I believe it is, down in Florida to be a partner of ours. So we're going to be taking care of their big pay-per-view events there with live on the scene coverage as well. So very excited about that. Now, let's move on to the oldest member of the stock market, if you can, in these three groups. We're going with Ford Automotive, which is can be a powerhouse, but has dipped somewhat because of what's going on in Detroit and the world right now. What are your guys' thought on Ford?
Well, I think this is going to be a rare episode where I'm actually bullish on all of the companies we talk about. Usually I'm a Debbie Downer and I'm always talking negative things, and people are like, you're always so negative. But listen, if you don't have any revenue, or you're a bad company, or you have a bad business model, that's just the way it is. But Ford is, just like you said, is one of those companies that have been around for a century. They keep they outlast everybody. But the great thing about Ford is we're seeing something that we haven't seen from them in years. We're seeing just new innovation. People are excited about Ford finally for the first time in a long time. And, I looked at some of their financial information, and this past quarter was their best quarter since 2011. It was their best quarter in 10 years, in a decade. They reported a net income of $3.3 billion, which is pretty amazing. And right now, I like to talk about price to book ratio a lot. And right now, their price to book ratio is about 1.7. And usually anything like 1.7 to 1, usually anything like 3 to 1 or less is pretty good. 1 to 1 is ideal. So I think they're in a good spot right now. And they did announce plans earlier this year to invest $22 billion into electric vehicles over the next 4 years. So through 2025, they're going to invest $22 billion into developing batteries, buying plants, developing their own battery cells, significantly adding EV vehicles or EV to their fleet. And like they just did this year with the new Mustang Mach-E, which is an all-electric Mustang, which is badass, by the way.
It looks very interesting. I did not expect a Mustang to look like that. Dalt doesn't seem to be very happy right now.
It looks like an SUV, but
yeah.
I got to sit in one recently, and if you've never been, it's very cool. It's a very cool experience. I don't know what their sales are. They may have horrible sales on that right now. I don't know. It's only been out for a couple months, I think 6 months. So it's yet to be seen where that's going to go. But I do like the direction that Ford is going. And I do think they're going to take some market share from Tesla in the future, just because they're going to have more affordable cars. And they've been building cars for over 100 years. So they have
they modernized
Yeah.
car making pretty
they
much.
they modernized the assembly line. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see Ford going anywhere. Whether or not they're going to have a huge increase in share price over the next 5 years, I don't know. But I do know that they're not going to go bankrupt. They're not going out of business anytime soon. So it's not a bad place to invest your money. I'm bullish on Ford. I do think they have a lot of potential in the next 5 years. So
All right, just before we get to Dalt, no, let's jump into Dalt. Dalt, what do you have to say on the Ford family of EVs and that?
I think they're definitely gonna steal market share from Tesla. They're gonna be cheaper. I'm gonna hope that that they can continue to build their electric vehicles without any issues and scale a lot faster than Tesla can. Because every time Tesla wants to expand, they got to buy a whole new property and build a whole new warehouse. If Ford has tons of these things around the world already, all these
They
guys
just have to update it.
Yeah.
they have the resources, they have the money, they have the engineers. It's just a matter of, like you said, the quality of their vehicles and the pricing. If they can just maintain a quality EV. So
everybody's better than Tesla. So I don't, and when it comes to quality, so I don't think it's too hard to beat Tesla. I could certainly see them stealing market share. I don't know how bullish I am over long term. All the little bit of success that Ford's having in their EV unit is only because Honda and Toyota haven't even tried yet. As soon as they try, it's always been Toyota, Honda have always been your 1-2. It's always been that way. Sorry, Volkswagen, Toyota, Honda. That's always been your top three. Tesla's going to sneak up there, maybe into the top three, third or fourth. Ford will kind of remain where they are right now as far as vehicle sales go. But you're right; they're not going out of business. They're not going bankrupt anytime soon. Are they going to be the number one EV producer? No. But they will be. They will be a quality. They will be building quality cars, quality electric vehicles. So that's always good. I was just shaking my head before at the Mustang because I have seen it. And
you don't like it? I think it looks
speaking
cool.
speaking of Mustang, I'm just going to share this. This one from Gas Flow. Electric Mustangs make me think of He-Man riding a My Little Pony, just being honest, which I have to agree. I can see it. And then we have
change the name or something now.
Yeah, we have Mikael who says old school Mustang owners absolutely despise the electric one.
I agree.
That's where I'm
definitely
coming
not
from.
the Mustang that you know and love. It's not. But I don't look at it as that. I look at it as an entire different vehicle.
It's no longer. It's like the Shelby Mustang. It's not the same as the regular Mustang. They need to give it another name.
Yeah, I'm a big Mustang fan, and I understand why people don't like it because they're thinking of it as a Mustang. But I don't think of it as a Mustang, like as a next generation Mustang. I just think of it as an electric Mustang, like its own separate thing. If you think of it like that, then it's fine. That's just my opinion.
I was a big fan of the small block V8s, the 302s, late 80s, early 90s, and then they went away from the 5.0s, and then they brought it back not too long ago. They brought the 5.0s back, and they didn't even sound the same as the ones in the 90s. It sounded like a whole lot more tuned down. I mean, they had more horsepower, but the sound, it's kind of the Mustang, and now it's electric. I'm just like, oh man, like I know gas.
I'm gonna tell you what, though,
I understand
if you get
gas.
an opportunity, you get an opportunity to sit in one and just go drive around in one. It's pretty badass. Like, it's a really nice vehicle. Like, it really is. It feels quality. It feels like a high quality vehicle.
No, I bet. Yeah, I have no problem with Ford's quality. So you mean you got in and you got out, and the door handle didn't fall off, or the
they closed properly the door.
I closed the door.
Interior panels weren't two different colors like a Tesla.
It's part
it
of
looks
the
a lot better
curb
than
appeal.
Tesla. Inside a Tesla is like so basic looking.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever sat in a Tesla.
Yeah.
But it looks like a car from the early 90s. It's very basic looking.
So we do have a question from Christian here. He's going, would you rather be in Ford or GM? Ooh. So we're not talking the car, we're talking the stock. You guys, what do you think? Would you rather be in Ford stock or GM stock?
I was bullish on GM last year because I thought they were going to be getting the contract for what was it? UPS, or I feel who I thought, or Amazon. That's what it was. I thought they were going to be getting the contract for the Amazon SUVs for delivering vehicles. I don't know if they ever got that. To be honest, I haven't paid a lot of attention to them lately. Maybe Dalton knows if they got that contract, but
no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. They that's a tough question. I think I would probably be more bullish on Ford personally, but that could go either way. Honestly, I could see it going either way.
All right.
I would take neither, but if you held a gun to my head,
yeah. So there's a gun to your head, Dalton, because that's all we do here.
Said choose one. I would choose Ford. Yeah. I would never be investing in a company that was on the verge of bankruptcy or had to take a major bailout. Not a chance. Never.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, I do not own any Ford or GM, and I won't be buying any Ford. But I do think that 5 years from now, the share price will be higher than it is today, unlike the past trend that we have seen with Ford. But I just don't know if it's going to be anything significant worth investing in. It might be like 15% higher, 20% higher,
Hey, that's not too bad. That's not a too bad return, but obviously if you want
years, you can do a lot better.
Over 5 years, it's shit, but
I'm not saying per year. I don't think they're going to do 10% per year.
No,
I think in 5 years, they may have 15, 10%, but,
it's going to be one of those things where they have a license to make as much revenue as they can right now. So they'd be wise to scale up very, very quickly, because as soon as Toyota and Honda scale up, it's over. They're going to go back to where they were before all this.
It really depends how serious they're going to take EV. If they're going to really put their money into it, like they did with racing all those years ago with Ford, when they were going up against Ferrari, and they took it really serious.
Ford versus Ferrari, amazing movie. If you haven't got a chance to watch it, it's on YouTube.
I haven't seen it yet, but
so good.
I haven't watched it either. I'll probably watch it after this.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
They have that movie, I'm sure, shows that they have the resources to compete and do whatever they want. I mean, they went into, what was it, Le Mans?
They went to Le Mans 24. The first story is they walked to Enzo Ferrari. They went to see the Enzo Ferrari and tried to buy Ferrari.
Yeah.
They would control. What the deal was that they would control 95% of Ferrari production, but Enzo could own 95% of the racing team, and it would be Ferrari Ford Racing versus Ford Ferrari the company. And how it fell through, funny enough, spoiler, but it's history. It's because they said no to Enzo racing Le Mans.
Yeah.
If he wanted to. But yeah, it's a great movie. Graz has another great question, which also links to another question. It's the microchip shortage. Do you think it's going to hurt have a long-term effect on the automotive industry?
I don't think long-term, but I saw that Ford was projecting it's going to cost them millions in sales throughout 2022 because there's a semiconductor shortage. I know a lot of companies are investing in their own like Apple's buying out all different types of semiconductor companies, and they're trying to make their own chips. And
a lot of companies are going to be vertical soon and less going horizontal. They're just going to do from beginning to end because that's the most profitability there. Control the whole market.
I imagine once the pandemic's over, we'll see the shortage come to an end, but I don't know for sure. I don't know if anybody really knows for sure.
I would imagine that somebody in FANG eventually is going to try and take a stab at that market as we move to the electrification of everything and the Internet of Things, of everything. I imagine.
I think Apple's trying. I mean, Apple's making their own chips, so I don't know.
I heard the new M1 chips are pretty good. So
yeah.
They're always squeezing in those underpowered Intel. They're always like i5s in the Max or something, and everybody else is running i7s. It was quite foolish, but I hear that the new M1s are super powerful. So maybe it was just a matter of time.
Yeah, they were running low power chips. But the thing is, they make their own software and hardware, so they just tune it and it works so smooth, and you don't really. That's
realize.
The thing with Apple. But yeah, I don't know. It's to be seen, like you said. It's to be seen of what companies are going to step up and try to add to the market share. I don't know, but I don't think it's gonna really cause problem, because Ford already said. I was reading an article today that they already have They always have 6 to 8 months of cars in like ready to go, new cars ready to go. So, I mean, I'm sure they have enough supply to last, at least to get them through this. But.
Yeah, and even if they don't, it's going to be, by the time they run out of the new cars, the shortage will be near ending, and they'll be able to recapitalize and just hit it to 1,000 and pump out those cars.
Or like they're just going to pass on those higher costs to you.
Yeah. So. Like most companies do, because it's all about profit. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our breakdown of the stocks of Virgin Galactic, Ford, and Draftkings. If you're interested in rewatching this, if you go up to the top of the group, you can see where it says media. Click there. You'll see videos, and you can rewatch the whole video, as well as our past shows. We are getting in the process of getting just a specific podcast link for you guys, that you guys can listen to it if you want while you're driving your Ford or your Mustang, your new EV Mustang, if you will.
E-electric Mustang.
Yes, the Mach E11.
Can't even hear the Mustang coming down the street anymore. God damn it.
We'll put the subwoofers in for you, Dalt. Don't worry. Tony, let them know where they can find you, your podcast, and all that stuff.
Yeah, the Stock Bros podcast. I'll throw the link in in this video, so you can subscribe there. It's free. Lots of good content for beginners, and obviously you can find me on the page. I'm always on the page. So.
And Dalt, where can we find you and your amazing insight into the world of investing?
So, as always, you can find me in the group. I always have I always write articles every Sunday and Wednesday. So I posted one. I usually post it just before our Wednesday meeting at 7:30, usually from 6 to 7. I usually post those on Wednesdays, and Sundays usually about the same time as well. And if you happen to miss when I post it, I usually kick it up a few times throughout the week, so it will travel to the top at least 3 times throughout the week. So you can't miss any of my stuff. And my handle, I just changed it to @RismayLife. That's where you can find me there on Instagram, and I do live videos every Saturday and a whole bunch of investing content I post in my in my Insta story, and it's usually Wall Street Journal content. So if you don't have a subscription, you don't want to pay $10 a month, come over to my Instagram and look at my story, and you'll steal all their shit. So
there you go. And of course, you can find him at BantingcourtCapital.com, a major resource if you're in the investing world and you want some insider knowledge. Go check them out. And of course, you can check out Tony's YouTube, where in the links it's not showing here, but in the comments you can find his latest video, the S&P 500 Warren Buffett is buying index funds. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn more about entrepreneurship, or I actually had an investment advisor as well as a estate planner on my most recent episodes of my podcast, Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast, which you can be found at investinyourselfpod.com. Great art interviews with amazing entrepreneurs. So make sure you go check out that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Stock Dirty to Me, the stock edition. We'll be back next Wednesday, possibly on Sunday with another episode. And I thank you all for watching.
Thank you. Thanks everyone.